Hi, my name's Infinite, and you're listening to Infinite Rocket Power. This podcast will be conducted on a weekly or bi weekly basis regarding topics in my life and different aspects and perspectives about life. Today's topic is They Love the Lie and Hate the Truth. Society security is just an illusion. There's an old saying that the truth hurts, and the truth can sometimes be a hard red or blue pill to swallow, especially when we don't want to hear it. During those times, people's true colors emerge to the surface, whether it's in a real world situation or even a metaverse situation. They both have relevancy. Today, we will be exploring why people prefer lies over the truth, the consequences of this behavior on a micro and macro level, and how we can prevent our egos from stopping us from greatness. But before we get started, if you love Kate Spade, Betsy Johnson, or any other exclusive jewelry, please visit www.prosperityboutique.com. And we're also selling on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. How's everyone doing today?
All
Wonderful.
right.
Blessed, blessed.
All right, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves, starting with Miss B.
Welcome to Infinite Rockets Podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is B, and I am the CEO and founder of B Organics. B Organics is a healthy hair and beard product company. You can find me here in Horizon World at my store called B Organics Beauty Supply Store, or you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok under B Organics. You can also find my products at www.borganics.info. That's www.beorganics.info.
All right.
Hey, this your boy
Your
Rello
turn.
God 3.0. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm a creator in the Horizon Worlds. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming through to show some support and love to Infinite Rocket Power on the podcast to get some knowledgeable knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get it popping like that.
Hi, I'm Shay Arts. I'm an artist with a Real Touch LLC. We provide commission artwork physically and virtually here within Horizon Worlds. Please follow me on Instagram, Shay Arts underscore VR, and also a Real Touch.xr.
Dr. Beasy, one Horizon World creator and scripter.
Okay.
Matty Cakes, local legend, double S on the name. I am me and only me, and 8 billion people in this world. Ain't a duplicate of me out there. I'm a liaison between people, and I am the co host for AO Podcast.
All right. And I'm so blessed to have you all here on today. Now, the consequences of preferring lies can be far reaching and devastating, including breakdown in trust, dangerous behavior, and lack of personal growth. Additionally, society's security is just an illusion because it is built on a foundation of trust that can crumble when people prefer lies over the truth. Starting with you, B, what do you think is scarier, facing the truth or living the lie?
Living the lie, because that's not something that you can just do one time. That's a lifetime of living a lie, because you always have to remember the lie you told yesterday to repeat it today and then and forevermore. So that's even more scarier than living the truth is living a lie.
Okay. Rella, let me ask you that same question.
I feel like the truth, because of the simple fact is, nobody knows what's behind closed doors when the doors close, and when you expose the truth, is up to an individual to be able to understand and comprehend, and it basically put them at a standpoint where they got to make a choice. So, say truth.
Mm, okay. Shay, let me ask you this question. Hold on one second.
Oh, oh,
Do you think people are more afraid of the consequences of the truth or the truth itself?
Mhm. I feel like some people, as a generalization, just can't handle the truth. Um, there's really no consequence of the truth but accountability, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with. is when the truth is exposed, someone you have to take accountability. So that not being a consequence, that's being part of the reveal of being in your truth. So yeah, I feel like the truth itself, like it's not really a consequence, but the truth itself is what people are afraid of.
Mm, okay. Dollar Beast, let me get your take on that.
Could you repeat it again so make sure
Do
I'm on
you
point?
do you think people are more afraid of the consequence of the truth or the truth itself?
Oh, yeah, the truth itself. Because a lot of people believe that um, the truth is not the truth until it comes to light. So basically, like if you don't say it, it's not true, or if they can live in this bubble of believing that people don't know, and usually the truth is out there before people think it is.
Mm,
But
Mm-hmm.
so they really fear, it just coming out and having to come to terms with something that's not going to change because the truth is persistent. It's never changing. It's always going to be the truth, regardless of how you try to frame it.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie, what is the cost of living in denial and avoiding the truth from your perspective?
Cost of living in denial. I mean, ignorance is bliss. When sometimes, not sometimes, actually, all the time, when people when people speak things into existence, they can speak lies into existence and speak them so much that they actually believe them. And all of us here at the table know someone like that. And there ain't nothing that you could tell that person. You could have scientific stamp proof, presidential seal, the whole 9 yards, and they still look at it and say, "Nah, that's nonsense." But what's tough about it is that people who believe so much in the lie, okay, cannot be reasoned with. People who believe so much in the lie are so deep inside of it that it is like remember in the movie The Matrix when he said my eyes hurt and Morpheus said that's because you ain't ever used them before,
Mm,
right? So it's the same
Mm.
concept as that. The impact of truth hits hardest with them when they finally crack that shell.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Rella, let me ask you this question. Have you
All
ever
right.
experienced a situation where the truth was painful but was ultimately necessary?
Mm.
True enough, I did. Dealing with an ex, of mine, and then she had expressed, you know, something that she felt like, she had to be honest about, because it could have, dictated how the relationship would have went. You know what I'm saying? And she presented it to me, and yeah, it went left at first, and but we gradually, got it back. You know, so yeah.
Okay. Dollar Bees, let me ask you that same question.
Yeah, I think in any real caring relationship, like Rella said, it's going to be some of those moments because your relationship is tested when you're forced to be honest with one another. There's a
Mm,
level. Everything's on the outside of that truth. Like if you're going to grow, if it's going to be done, and it's usually a real growth moment. When you can be honest. And I love relationships. If you can be honest with your partner, you can gain so much just by those really hard conversations. Like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's wow. Okay, sorry. It's it's just rough when you're at that point, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think that's where the value is. But it is hard, and hopefully I didn't go too far off, but
no,
maybe
you
I
good.
did.
You good.
Mm-hmm.
B, let me ask you this. Do you think that people have a moral obligation to seek the truth or and even if it's uncomfortable and painful?
To seek it or to
Yeah,
speak it?
to seek it.
Mm. Well, for me, I'm always going to seek the truth. Some people that can't handle the truth won't seek it.
Mm.
They're comfortable with being lied to. But me, I always want to know the truth. I can't move
Mm-hmm.
forward if I'm moving on a lie. That's not moving forward. You're moving backwards if you're moving on a lie.
So you think based off of your own personal morals will be the difference on you how you move with the truth.
Yes,
Mm, okay.
definitely.
Okay. Maddie, what is the difference between honesty and transparency? And which
Mm-hmm.
one do you think is more important?
Honesty and transparency. Honesty is full fledged. Honesty is the full impact. Okay, honesty is the window being open so everything can come through. A window is transparent. You could see through that. You could be see through all day, but there's still limitations there that you can't pass through. If you're full fledged honest and the window is open, anything can pass through. It's full exposure. Whereas transparency is you're saying, "Hey, yo, look at me. This is what I'm all about." Blah 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 blah. But there's still a barrier there, so there's still a veil pulled over. And what was the second part of the question?
Let's see here.
And which one is?
More important.
Oh, literally it depends on the individual because not everybody can handle or live with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Being an honest person is a lonely life
Mm,
because
It is.
I haven't told a lie since my second year of eighth grade. And a lot of people have heard me say that and they think it's bullshit. I got hit with some serious terroristic threats in my second year of eighth grade, and it was a bad time in my life. And I said I ain't never gonna lie again, and I haven't. Now some people have perceived that I have lied. That's because the power of existence lies within interpretation, and how people interpret me is that's their own fault. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I have been honest, and it has been a lonely road because people you surround yourself simply want you to nod your head and agree with them, but that ain't always honest. If you wrong, you wrong.
mm-hmm.
Can I add some?
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would
Okay,
like
beat
to
them
add to.
dollar. Yep.
Okay. I was just watching this post yesterday on Instagram about transparency, honesty, and it was a third word, but I can't remember it. But he said transparency is what you see. Honesty is what I tell you. What as the
Mm,
words as they say, actions speak louder than words. You see the honesty in me because of my
Mm-hmm.
actions. I can tell you all day, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that's the truth. But if
mm,
you if my words match up with my actions, that's how you know it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. That third
I,
one was
I can,
authenticity.
yeah, I can vibe
Mm-hmm.
with that. That's a good analysis.
Mm-hmm.
mhm. And what were you gonna say, add dollar?
Oh, I just want to say, like, I think if you don't have both, you don't have either. Because, if I'm transparent with you, but I'm not honest with you, the reasons why, or give you the explanation to go with it,
Hmm.
then you don't really understand it. Like I could show you what I'm doing, but without you understanding why I'm doing it, it might not even matter to you. Just like you could see what I'm doing, but not understand what I'm doing. Like you kind of need that transparency and honesty to go together.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
like
true.
that too because you can omit the truth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Shay, have you ever avoided seeking the truth because you were afraid of what you might find?
I feel like at some point in all our lives, we've come upon the situation where we knew someone was lying to us, and we didn't care to find out why. Um,
Mm.
Me specifically, I've definitely been in that position, um, even like with business and with personal life. And so I really feel like me personally, I don't seek anything. I feel like it will come to me in time. If someone's saying something to me and it's a lie that they're working on, eventually the truth is going to come out. That's just karma. It's just always going to come out. So me personally, I don't seek to look for the truth, but I let it come to me. Um, there have been times where there have been times where I've wanted to dwell more into something that I felt like wasn't right. But I just, at the end of the day, I look at how much does it take an effect on myself, on my life. And just with me personally, it becomes when I just let it come to me and I don't force it. If someone tells me, if someone's trying to feed me a lie, feed me a lie, feed me a lie, eventually they're gonna slip up and tell the truth. And if not, it's gonna come around anyway because it just that's just people. That's just humankind.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't seek it personally.
Okay. Rello, when it comes to the truth, for you, is there such a thing as too much information?
Oh no, it's never too much. It's never too much because it it it's that person own personal demons. You know what I'm saying, that they need to get off their chest. You know what I'm saying, and a part of us being who we are, we have to be understanding creatures. You know what I'm saying, we say human beings, but we have to be understanding. But it's never too much of the truth. It's all. It just take that individual. If that individual can handle as much as she
Mm-hmm.
or he project, you know what I'm saying, or speak upon, you know what I'm saying. So, nah, it's never too much of the truth.
Okay. B.
Sometimes it can be too much of the truth because you got to understand who you dealing with, telling all your stuff to. Some people you can be honest as you want to be. Some people take your honesty and use it against you. So you got to
Mm-hmm.
know who you're talking to.
That is
Mm.
true.
Yeah.
You tell too much and it can hurt you.
Mm. Yeah.
Maddie, how do social norms and expectations impact our ability to be authentic?
Oh, come on. That's something that's it's a conformist society. It's either act like we do or you the black sheep. Um, it's being unique is seen as being weird,
Mm,
and you got you, and it's crazy to me because you have magnificent talent and magnificent people that just exude these special, I want to say, powers, because the power of imagination, the power of art, the power of music, and this and that. But a lot of times, these inventors, these innovators, they're seen as weird and stuff like that, and they smacking their wrist with the ruler, saying, "No, no, 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 you don't do that. Like you gotta be like we are." Like oh my lord, what was the name of that John with Michael B. Jordan? Fahrenheit 451. Remember when they was burning the books and the music and the
Mm-hmm.
this and that? Salamander ho, salamander ho. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really hard for people to be authentic anymore because especially nowadays, I could see back in the day it was easier for people to be authentic, but now that you have information pounding you in the face from all angles, and not just information but misinformation pounding you in the face from all different angles at just the press of a button, it's hard for people to actually be authentic, or innovative instead of imitative. You know what I mean?
mm. Okay.
Oh my god, you scared me. I didn't even realize you're sitting next to me.
Dollar Beezy, what role does vulnerability play in being authentic? And why can it be so difficult to be vulnerable for you?
That's a
Um,
good question.
it's difficult to be authentic because we watch others get attacked. It's really hard to expose
Mm-hmm.
yourself to something. It's it's like when you were a kid, you watch your little brother get a beating for something. If if you were even thinking about doing that, you don't do it. Our courts are set up that way. They punish the public figures harder because they know that all the eyes are watching. So they're like, hey, look, don't do this. And it's the same thing. Like we fear the backlash. You know, there's always been rebels in our society as well. Like even if you go back, like Elvis was a rebel in his time, and he got love for it later on, but there was a lot of backlash that came initially, and we can't be ourselves anymore. Like
Mm.
it's just social media is a timeline of everybody doing the same poses with the same filters and the same, you know, couple of outfits, that make accentuate certain parts of their body or create this illusion of I got money. Like Nobody wants to be broke when everybody's rich. But the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, a lot of us are, less well off than we appear to be online.
True.
So it's just hard to live in any kind of truth.
Mm, very true.
Great response.
Mm-hmm.
Shay, how can we balance being our true selves while fitting in with these social norms and professional expectations?
Can you repeat the question again?
How can we balance being our true selves while fitting in with these societal uh, and professional expectations?
Um, I feel like it comes to having a foundation. Um, like as far as like with my business, with my brand, I have my set values and morals of what I will and what I'm not willing to create. What commissions I'm not willing to do. I'm not willing to just take whatever because someone paid me. That's my that's my brand. That's my mission statement is peace, love, art. So that's the type of art that I create. And so with that in a professional setting of dealing, especially when it comes to taking contract work, when I'm working for someone and I'm not doing my vision, I'm doing their vision. It's been sticky sometimes, and I have been in situations where I have to end up compromising what I stand for a check. But then I knew next time around what to change in that contract. I knew from that point on. I knew from I learned from those mistakes, and so hold on, babe, get the phone. Sorry. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay. I'm sorry. I got my baby right here.
You
So
good.
so me myself, I'm always gonna be my profession. I mean, my most authentic self, because I've learned from those mistakes of not doing so, of um, of trying to fit in with certain norms, certain whatever, and it's usually trends of what's acceptable at that moment. And so, and I'm speaking always with art in mind because that's my full time. And so,
Okay.
now I've gotten to a place within the recent years of working for myself where I can be my truthful self in a workplace environment and not have to compromise anything that I stand on because I know what to come with, especially when it comes to doing independent contract work. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. It's something you just said that I really appreciate that you stated. It was a mission statement. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up in the trends that we forget who we're buying from and what they stand for. We don't even think about that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you said that. I'm very glad
Mm-hmm.
you said that. Ooh. Mhm.
Yeah.
Rello,
Mm-hmm.
what are some practical ways to overcome the discomfort of being authentic?
Mm. Well, I'm gonna ask you to break the term authentic down for me in your terminology, if you don't mind.
Well, my version of authentic is just being me.
Okay, cool, cool.
What my
Okay,
game plan is for myself.
okay, cool. So can you repeat the question for me one more time? Okay.
What are some practical ways to overcome the discomfort of being your authentic self?
Oh shit. I mean, like it's multiple ways. I mean, like first taking self accountability. You know what I'm saying? That's one. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look in the mirror sometimes. You gotta and visualize everything that you're doing in life. You have to visualize it. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit there and you got to take a moment for yourself and you got to say, hey, am I moving too fast or am I moving too slow? You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because don't nobody want to move too fast. Don't nobody want to move too slow. We want to be right there on pace, with everybody else, right? So, but the ways you can do that is just, saying just take a look in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? And just ask yourself questions, main questions that you need to ask yourself am I being my best self today? You know what I'm saying? Am I, doing what I'm supposed to do? It's certain things in that type of nature, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, them are ways, you know what I'm saying? Just take that second out for yourself and just say, hey, and let reality kick in and see where you need to go, you know what I'm saying, and how you can go about doing the things though. Mm-hmm.
But it seems like a lot of times, brother, we got to get in the space of our by ourselves. It seems like it's only times when we're in the space by ourselves that we come to that realization, not when we're around everybody.
Right, right. Because when you're around everybody, that causes distractions. You know what I'm saying? When you have distractions, you never have time to focus on yourself because you have your your feelings and all that, so you intertwine with a lot of people, and you know what I'm saying, you having multiple energies around you, and you never have time to focus on your main energy, you know what I'm saying, because
Mm,
your energy is what you need to be able to conquer anything, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have to have that energy, so you know what I'm saying, so when you around people and you're doing that, they're distractions, you know what I'm saying, you at work, that's a distraction, you know what I'm saying? You hanging with friends, that's a distraction. You know what I'm saying? We allow ourselves to have these distractions, but the main thing is to overcome anything is protecting your energy and looking in the mirror and just asking yourself, hey, am I moving too fast or am I moving too slow? Just take that time, to think about, you know, yeah.
all right. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
B, how do our past experiences and trauma impact our ability to be authentic? And how can we work through those barriers?
Repeat that again because it's glitching, and some of it I heard and some I didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
How do our past experiences and traumas impact our ability to be authentic? And how can we work through these barriers?
Mm. Our past traumas, like I said earlier, you got to be careful of who you give all your truth to,
Mm,
because it can come back to bite you. It can come back to haunt you. Because of past traumas, because I've opened myself up. I've given my all. I've given everything, my truth, to say me and Maddie dating, and I give him
Hey,
everything, and
yo.
then 6 months into our relationship, he gets mad at me about whatever, and then he takes what I told him and throw it back at me.
mm,
Those type of things, it cause people not to want to be authentic, not want to be, want to give themselves to other people. And how we get through that is take baby steps. When you tell people something, don't give them everything. Don't give them a full course meal. Give them a snack, give them, a little bit at a time, and then allow them to show you if they're worthy of getting all of you.
Mm-hmm.
mm. But B, I was having a conversation with someone and they said they're either a all or nothing type person. So how
Mhm.
can they just train themselves into ease and into something when they always been all or nothing? I want
But
to I want to give myself to you right now.
it depends on what you're given. What are you all or nothing with? Because if you're all or nothing with your heart, with everything, that's a place where you can be subject to hurt. If you don't take your time, tread that water, tippy toe into that deep, you can fall into something that can hurt you.
Hmm.
Mm,
So if it's working for them, keep doing it. But if it's not working for you, figure out another way to not give your all, but still get what you need.
Mm-hmm.
mm. Thank you for that, B. Maddie, what advice would you give someone struggling to balance their desires to be authentic and the fear of judgment and rejection?
You know, hmm, man, this podcast, you ask these magnificent questions, and then like you have that one that comes out of left field, and I'm just like, dang, I'll think about it for a second. Um, could you reiterate the question so I can give an answer with clarity?
Yes. What advice would you give someone struggling to balance their desire to be authentic, but at the same time they're fearing the judgment, fear they have a fear of judgment and rejection?
Oh, okay. I see now. Patience. Absolutely patience. In fact, I'm dealing with that with my daughter right now. Listen, raising a daughter ain't no easy feat, and anyone who got a daughter, if you're a man, especially, that's it's tough. Them girls is
Absolutely.
wild when they're younger. Like I
Mm-hmm.
and And I'm trying to tell my daughter all the time, yo, stay consistent. Stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing what you doing. And I said, because everyone sees you doing right, you doing right, you doing right. But the moment you swerve left, they're all gonna point the finger at you and say, hey, like, oh, there she go. Now it doesn't matter what anyone else does. You done
Mm-hmm.
went left. Now, that's not to say if you're doing something bad, keep doing something bad. I'm just saying authenticity. Um, so my daughter was just facing that, and
Stay true to you.
I said, be true to who you are, okay, and what's inside of your heart, your pursuit of happiness, and these cats around you that are outside influences. They're gonna trip themselves up trying to stop you. But if you
Mm-hmm.
want a course that's meant for you, they're gonna trip over themselves to get to you. You know, and it actually worked out for her pretty well. And I try to remind anyone like that, patience, yo. Trust me, because there's certain people. I'll use this example again. We in school we gave people that power to tell them that they were popular. They were no different than we were. They were
Mm-hmm.
no different than who.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell both my kids, I say, wait till you get to that high school reunion and you see how some of these more, oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
you
don't know if we
good.
can curse on the show.
We yeah
You,
we keep real. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. And when you see how some of these people that you thought was popular, how they look in 10 years from now, 20 years
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
from now. Let the page, a lot of people got these vision boards because they expect manifestations to happen instantly. Nah, nobody said the rapture was going to be quick. We could
Nope.
be in it right
Mm-hmm.
now because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know God's plan. Trust me,
Amen to
it
that.
could
Mm-hmm.
take time.
Talk to him.
50 cents are the best.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, homie. In high school,
Yeah.
you was the man, homie.
All right.
Trust me.
Okay. Yo.
Yeah.
Let go.
Trust me.
Yo.
B, on the path of embracing your authenticity, what lessons have you learned along the way?
Everybody can't handle me.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm a lot for a lot of people. A lot of people can't handle me. And like I said, a lot of people can't handle the truth. And when you deny the truth, you deny yourself of growth, everything. So a lot of people can't
Hmm.
handle me.
Oh,
So when
hey.
you say that, what was you gonna say, brother?
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. I wanted to piggyback, but I wanted to repeat the
You
question.
can go
So
ahead
go
and
ahead.
repeat. Okay. Well, in the path of embracing your authenticity, what have you learned along the way?
You know, every day is a calculated day. You know what I'm saying? Because you wake up and you expect certain things within that day. You know what I'm saying? But along the way, you know what I'm saying? It's people got to understand. It's coming from a child to an adult. You know what I'm saying? Things that we didn't stumbled across and came across, which is God for one. You know what I'm saying? Like most people leave that out and they forget. You know what I'm saying? There's the one thing that you have, came upon. The excel in life. You know what I'm saying? And all the material things. It's a lot of people that like to do that, but I say God. You know what I'm saying? Because we leave Him out a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? And we miss out, because we be focused on all these other things, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, along the way, I say God, because He brought me closer to Him within, the time. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have a question for Rella. So when your authentic self is rooted and grounded in God, and you talking to somebody that is not rooted, does not know Him, don't care to know Him, how do you deal with that?
Oh, so
Mm.
that's when understanding coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be open minded and understanding. You know what I'm saying? Because the
Mm-hmm.
moment you say, I don't want to hear that, you just miss your opportunity of putting God inside His spirit. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So yeah,
Say that
Talk to him,
again.
Rello.
Say that
yeah.
again. Say that again.
So I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like once you do that, you know what I'm saying, you miss the opportunity of putting God in somebody else's life. The key thing is understanding and being open minded. You know what I'm saying to the
Understanding
situation.
on whose part? On the person who don't believe in God or the
No,
person that do?
No, the person that do, because you know what I'm saying. Because a person that believe in God gonna always have a one track mind as God. A person that don't, he's still wondering. See what I'm saying? His mind everywhere. He's a lost soul
Mm-hmm.
right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be open minded and understanding to what he's going through, and then maybe at the end of that conversation, maybe he'll have a better look at things as you explain. You know, the process of how to get a better connection with God. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So being your
Talk to
authentic
Umbrella.
self, how does that do for the person that's being their authentic self? Do they stop talking about God? Because the person don't want to hear it or whatever. But how does that? Because she
No,
said
no,
the question is your authentic self.
right. So it's
What
a
about
part of
you?
finesse. It's a finesse. See me, okay, me. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I put my authentic self, it's come to a finesse, right? You go feed it
Mm-hmm.
to him
Oh, I
without
hate
him
this
knowing you
glitch.
feeding it to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how you do in life. You know,
Oh,
see
okay.
what I'm saying? So you have
Yeah.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
process. You got to know the ways of finesse. Like finesse is not always a bad thing. You can finesse
Right.
things in a good way, like Matty
Trust me.
Cake was saying. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a part of your finesse, and then so that way you won't drain yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or drain that
Mm-hmm.
other individual either. You know what I'm saying? So what you'll do is, as y'all having a conversation, you'll throw that topic in there, and then you'll wing off of it, and then you'll throw it back up,
Mm-hmm.
and throughout the conversation, and he be like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
dang. Then the energy start rising. As the energy rising, he go feel your energy because he's a human being like you, and he have feelings like you. So as he's feeling it rising, he gonna be like, "Dang!" So this the feeling of having, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
and you break it out with it. You have a blessed day. You know what I'm saying? He might say it back to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a part of
Mm-hmm.
finesse. You know what I'm saying? So
I, I I ain't mean to go that route.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, but
sorry.
it's good. It's good. I'm glad I got to express that though. That was
Yeah.
probably God way of expressing somebody that need to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight
So
up.
B, when you said earlier about you accepted that people just can't accept you. So it sounds like you
Repeat. Start from the beginning. It glitched.
so when
I
you said
hate this glitch.
so when you said that you've come to the understanding that not everyone can accept you, right? So in the midst of you coming to the understanding, you no longer face the fear of rejection. You no longer face the fear of those things.
I, I barely heard you, but I'm gonna try and make out what you said. Do I fear rejection? Is that what you're asking?
So, yeah, because
No, I
since
don't fear the rejection. I don't fear the rejection because I know I'm not for everybody.
Hmm.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's sale. I'm not,
Hmm.
I'm just not for everybody. And who God want me to be in front of, He places me in front of them.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's a way
I
of
agree
looking
with
at
that
that.
100%. B.
But
Hmm.
that, uh, can I say something? Or
yeah,
I guess it's more of a posed question, but if if you're not like maybe I'm looking at the term a little wrong too, but like if you're not for somebody, maybe you're just not explaining yourself in a way that they can
Mm.
take in.
Not
Hmm.
Like
always.
and maybe that's also not your responsibility, but
But you're not for them at that moment.
oh,
Because
Hmm.
all right,
believe me,
well, well
the words
Have
that
you
come
ready
out of
to
my
receive
mouth or
you?
anybody's mouth that is for you, you may not receive it at that moment. But believe me, there will come a time when you will hear my voice again. And you know what? Be like, you know what?
Hmm.
I heard that before. That's what B said to me 2 years ago, 6 months ago.
okay,
Hmm.
And
yeah,
that's how it'll come apart.
Mm.
Right.
and that's what I meant. Like, is it like yeah, I didn't think that, and that's how I was thinking about it too. Like, it's not a permanent thing. It's like maybe
Mm-mm.
for that moment or the way that you put it
Mm-hmm.
that time or where that person was at when they heard what you said. Like, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
Because they may
Hmm.
have been in a headspace at that moment where they couldn't receive it.
right, right,
And it
Right.
may come back
Right.
around
Right.
another turn where I'll be in another place with them and have the same conversation with them again where they're open minded, open hearted to
Hmm.
be able to hear
See,
and to be
there got a
to
key word
understand.
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get in the mix because like when I initially heard it, like not for you or not for this person, like that sounds like a closed door to me. Like all right, well
Hmm.
let's keep
Yeah.
that door open, but maybe revisit another time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
Right.
yes. So now we're going to transition into the last part of how our ego is stopping us from our greatness. Shay,
Mm-hmm.
let me
Mm.
start with you. Do you think it's possible to separate your ego from your beliefs and opinions?
My ego from my beliefs and my opinions. And my ego, and my definition being my sense of myself, my sense of worth of myself. Um, Ego being how much you think of yourself.
Hmm.
And what was the second part of your question?
Do
What you
you
trying to?
believe
That's it.
it's possible to separate your ego from your beliefs and opinions?
I don't. I let me think. Sometimes a person head can get big. Like they can have their beliefs and morals, and then they might get to a position where they may start acting out of character or thinking that they're more because now they have this ego that they're worth more.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so that can play on both ends. So I won't say it's not. Um, that's something that's like a double edged. On one hand, you can say you have this worth. Like at the previous podcast, I talked about having someone telling me that I feel like you have imposter syndrome. That's an ego problem. That's me living in my truth, but not accepting that I could be and do more. Of not um, having that ego. On the other hand, you can come into this place and just find a new skill, and now you're a top creator, and you have this ego of that this is what you are, but in your truth, you're struggling with life and work and everything outside the headset. And so,
Hmm.
I feel like there's probably no separation. It's just the where's the scales tipping.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. So, Infinite, I know you be posting it, so I just want to say, if you let your ego, they always say, all the time they say, don't let your ego get the best of you, because just like you got it today, it'll be gone tomorrow. So just keep that in
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
mind. Yeah.
Okay, Maddie, let me ask you this. What are some ways you can identify when your ego is getting in the way of accepting the truth?
Studying oneself and embracing outside influences too. Like Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. You know what I mean? A lot of whenever I drop this gem on people, and it's just one book. A lot of people say, "Well, I read over it," and they seem to contradict themselves. Yeah, it's 'cause you're not supposed to use all 48 at one time. Like they but the ego is the comfortability. It's Old English. Old English. The etymology of ego is the frequent use of I. You know what I mean? And ego is the comfortability of oneself. Ego is the one that will hold you back. A lot of people think ego means, um, to boost oneself up. But ego is actually the anchor that holds you back. Ego is the one that doesn't want you to go out and take the risk. Ego is the one that doesn't want you to go in and make the bold move, because ego's like, hey, yo, check it out. We're comfortable right here. We're good at doing A, B, and C. Don't mess around with D, E, and F now. Like, even though
Mm-hmm.
you know that you could probably make the leap, the ego's telling you, yeah, but we're doing really good right here. Let's just hang out here and just talk about ourselves and boast about what we can do.
Mm.
Um, a lot of times you need to recognize that when the ego starts to creep in, that's a fear. That's a
Mm.
fear of saying
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want my imagination to go too far out there because I'm fine right where I'm at. No,
Hmm.
that's not congruent with growth.
Mm-hmm. Like
Look.
we've had this conversation, Infinite, about the friendship and why we don't apologize and things of that nature because it's our ego. Well, I'm not
Hmm.
going to apologize because if I apologize, that means I was wrong. You
No,
know,
it don't.
if I,
Not
I'm
but
necessarily.
sorry, I said that loud.
that's the way we think.
Mm-hmm.
I,
But that's the way we think. You know, if I apologize, that means I'm identifying with the wrong in me. But it's not. It's not. Apologizing means I heard you and I feel you. And I understand that
Hmm.
I hurt you. And I apologize and I'm sorry. And that's all to it.
Hmm.
But
May
what
I
about the
say something
people?
on that? after you're done.
Okay. What about the people that sit up here and do that and turn around and don't and do the same thing right over again, wasting my time with that long ass
Then they
apology?
never meant it. They never meant it from the get go because, as the Bible says, you
Mm-hmm.
turn from your ways. When you turn, that means to turn and don't do it again.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is
So
that
that,
fair?
hmm?
Sometimes people have to break
Can,
old habits,
can,
break bad
Yeah.
habits.
oh, okay, well, I want
What you?
hold on. I just want to say, like, you apologize. You know, when you apologize and you do something again, that means you didn't have the understanding to go with the apology. Doesn't mean you didn't necessarily mean it. Like, I could apologize because you told me you were hurt. If that wasn't my intent, I should apologize for that. But that doesn't mean that I understood what exactly I did. So I may do it again, like unintentionally. That I
Then
don't
why
think it means that I wasn't
apologize if you
sorry,
don't understand?
because I'm
Because you
Why
only
apologize?
apologizing
for
for
your hurt.
what you explained to me that I've done, and I realized that wasn't my intent. Anytime I do something that wasn't intentional, I apologize for it.
Mm-hmm.
But
But you
anytime you
gotta
apologize
apologize
to
with an
someone,
explanation when it
right?
comes down to that.
When you
Yeah, yeah.
apologize, you should always come with an understanding. I did this, and this is why I'm apologizing. To say, oh, I'm apologizing, like I'm just apologizing to appease you without an understanding of what I did.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but what I'm saying is, I think sometimes that understanding doesn't line up. Like you might feel like I disrespected you, and I feel like, okay, well, I don't see how that's disrespectful, but I won't do it in that
So
way.
you could
But then I do it in a new way that I didn't recognize as that being what you meant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think people are just really rough on apologies. Like,
So when people,
man,
I feel like
but
when someone apologizes
You do
and
it
then they
again, and you
may
knew
do
what
the
you was
same thing
doing.
again, if they, especially if they knew what they were doing,
Yeah.
it may just be their way, and it comes until that person who's feeling hurt is expecting that apology to decide whether they're going to move on or hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Rello, have you ever been in a situation where you couldn't admit you were wrong because of your ego, and how did you handle it?
Good
Oh
question.
man, that's a good one. I mean, I'm gonna break it down like this, and I ain't gonna take too long. I'm gonna break it. Um, ooh, that's a good.
Great one.
Well, cause I'm gonna start like this. I'm not God. I'm not God. You feel me? So I make mistakes. You feel me? But bottom line is, oh, well, that was a tough one. You got me. You got me on that one. You got me. You got me. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, you can repeat that question for me because I'm lost in my thoughts on that one. You got me. Oh,
Have you
yeah,
ever
you got me digging.
have you ever been in a situation where you couldn't admit that you were wrong because of your ego, and how did you handle it?
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, me and my ex-wife, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I did some foolish stuff, you know what I'm saying, and I let my ego get the best of me. And so I walked around there like, hey, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And that's the attitude that I have with the situation, not to go all the way in the situation, but that's the attitude that I have with the situation. Like it is what it is. You gonna have to whatever. That was just my ego playing a part. But then as a few days went by, short conversations and not too much, I had to take a, look in the mirror and I had to be like, look, you was wrong, just go and
Mm-hmm.
apologize and try to make up for it. So and that's the way I had handled that situation. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I went about it, apologized, and then trying to do something nice, to show her that, I apologize. You feel me? So yeah.
So it sounds like you didn't let your ego allow you to be in your pettiness.
In a sense, yeah.
He was petty for a little while.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
petty for a little while.
he
Yeah,
recovered.
yeah, I recovered. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but yeah, hey,
Hey, but we all been
I
there.
think
We all
that's
been there.
a,
but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a
we all
human
been there though,
instinct. The first
Yeah.
thing you do is to be petty at first, and then that inner self starts to talk to you. Now you know you was wrong. You
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
know you was
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And that's that inner thing in you. We all have it. And nobody can
Mhm.
say that they don't. You do
Right.
have it. It
Fight or
it
flight.
speaks to you. In
Yeah.
my world, it's the Holy Ghost. I don't know what it is in yours. But in my
Yeah.
world, the Holy Ghost tells you you was wrong. Now go and apologize.
So
Mm-hmm.
Now
true.
your ego can be stronger sometimes than the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. 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 It
Even
can.
Mm.
though the
Cause
Holy
That's
Ghost should
so
be stronger
true.
than your ego. But
Mm.
sometimes that ego can be stronger than the Holy Ghost
yeah.
and can cause you
Mm-hmm.
to fail because you didn't go and apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my last relationship like that. Yeah, my
Mm-hmm.
ego got the goddamn best of me. You feel me? I just let it go. You feel me? Like I knew it was it. It wasn't even a rational decision. You know what I'm saying? It's like I thought I was putting up with so much. You feel me? But I really wasn't. It was all
Mm-hmm.
in the mind.
It's
Mm.
because your
But I
ego
Mm-hmm.
left,
has a
and when I
scoreboard.
left her, and she tried to call back, and I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with this shit no more. It's overwhelming. It's too much. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, no, no. So I would just let my ego just,
So that ego
play a.
got you put out.
No, 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 no. She live with me, baby. Hold on now. We ain't gonna do that.
No,
we ain't gonna
not
do
put out the house. Not put out the
that.
house, but it
Oh,
got you
got me
put out
put
the
out.
relationship.
It got me put out the
Yeah.
relationship because yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because as I let that ego run for weeks and months, and if she start fading away, you feel me? So, but I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
still cool because I'm cool with all my exes. You feel me? We all got a mutual understanding. You know what I'm saying? But bottom line is, I let my ego, run that. And I ain't gonna lie, me thinking about that shit right now, you feel me? We were together 3.5 years going on 4, and yeah, I did
Okay.
that. Yep.
Okay.
Ain't no making up for that one though.
Mm-hmm.
that
Can I
shit
add
over.
one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Me too.
Your ego a lot of time totes around a scoreboard, and that ego will tell you like, oh, this person did this, and this, and that's way worse than what you did, or that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And when you fall into like tallying who did what, you want to roll downward quick, man. I found myself
Mm.
there so many times. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, oh well, I wouldn't have did this, so this is way worse and all that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a relationship, man, you gotta realize, like, look, we on the same team. There's no need keeping score.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Yeah.
gonna win together or lose together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And Shay?
That was too
Um,
true.
can you repeat the question you asked for, Lau?
Let's see here.
So I can know the exact question was. Is somebody letting ego keep you from apologizing?
Mm.
Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't admit that you was wrong because of your ego, and how did you handle it?
Mm.
I want to say that everyone has different experiences growing up and different ways of handling situations. And in the type of culture that I've grown up in, I've seen situations and been on both sides to see that sometimes someone can do something wrong to someone that they know might maybe not physically but may harm that person, but their intention of doing it was, I mean, let me say that right. That wasn't their intentions. It was a byproduct of them living their truth. And
Mm.
so that you could be in a situation where you may, you may do something, you may say something, or have to go to a situation where you knew that it would affect this person in a way that would financially hurt them. But like I said, that's not something that's going with intention. That's a product of that whole situation and the butterfly effects, the butterfly and domino effects that may come with certain transactions, especially with business and stuff like that. And so there are some times where a person may have to do something. Cause we've all been at a point in our life that's just human, where we've done something to someone knowing that we were wrong
Mm.
and didn't apologize. Whether we were childish and we had that childish mind, or whether we were an adult and it was intentional. But
Mm.
especially when you're younger and you don't have that mental fortitude to understand the full scope, you could do something wrong to someone and not apologize because, like I said, it's not my intention to hurt you. I had to make this decision because that's what's best for me. And you being hurt in that process was just a byproduct of life, or just a byproduct of all the 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 layers of um, dependency that everything has on each other, especially with butterfly
Mm-hmm.
effects. You could not, not take this person to work. They lose their job because they never been late too many times and they ain't got no job. And it's like, you heard me, you're the reason why I lost his job. It's like, I can apologize for that because it's not my, I can apologize, but I cannot have that, full understanding because that wasn't my intention to hurt you like that. That was just a byproduct of me being unable to take you just to having small terms. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you have to look at all perspectives of probably why someone didn't apologize. And I hate being long winded, but I always have
Mm-hmm.
to look at like the dual. I always look at duality, and there's always different layers and sides to a situation.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Thank you. Dollar Bees, let me ask you this. Do you think our society values ego and confidence over humility and vulnerability?
Hmm.
Mm. Now, yeah.
Um. Hmm. Initially, I would say no. We don't value humility, but I think maybe we do in more of the more of the mainstream type situations,
Mm,
like like COVID and these mass shootings and such. We're we're understanding each other. I think on a higher level than we probably ever have before.
mm,
So we appreciate you know just being humane to one another, and maybe huh, like I think so. Like what happens in the media shows us the temperature of our country and our people, and there is no real dominant bullies right now. There's no ego-driven people. Like at one point, it seemed like it was all that, but it's not there anymore. So maybe that's not what we appreciate. I don't think anybody would rally behind anyone trying to purposely hurt somebody for their own benefit. Or if someone's walking into the room and say, "Hey, look, I'm this big time creator. You all need to listen to me, or I should have been on this podcast." Like nobody would gravitate towards that. So maybe we don't. Um, yeah. So I, I guess that's a long way of me saying I think we do value humility over ego.
okay. Maddie,
Mm.
I would like to hear your take
Okay.
on that.
It's a balance of both. If you ask me, because are we talking about the government? Is that what you said, or society?
Society.
Society wants you to have that sense of confidence that you the big one in charge. Because remember the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. Everyone thought that this cat was in charge, but then he was like, "Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain." You know what I mean? Like they want you
Mm-hmm.
to have that confidence that something is in charge, but they also want to have the power to knock you back with humility and let you know, like, nah,
Mm,
you thought that you was the biggest fish in the pond. You know what I mean? But then
Mm-hmm.
here come my dorsal fin. You know what I mean? Like let's just keep it in perspective. So it's actually a really fine facet of the same gem. Because gems can be cut with multiple facets and whatnot. It's just depending on how you look at them that you get the shine out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So
all right.
that's a multifaceted question right there. Because it can hit from different angles depending on who is talking to who and who is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
B, let me ask you this. What do you think are the consequences of refusing to accept the truth because of our ego?
Mm.
Yes.
No, no. What do you think of
Yep.
the consequences are?
Say it again. Say it one more time.
What are the consequences of refusing? to accept the truth in our ego?
What are the
Consequences
Consequences.
okay? I'm not hearing her. It's glitching. That's why I'm asking her.
Mm.
What are the consequences
to
to
refusing to accept the truth because of our ego.
you lose? You lose out on a lot. You lose out on a lot. You can lose out on a friendship. You can lose out on a relationship. You can lose out on just getting some valid information for your life
Mhm.
because your ego just didn't want you to hear it or accept it. Our ego, like he said, our ego can stop us a lot of times from growing, from flourishing,
Mhm.
from getting valid things for our life. Our ego can stop us because we just feel like, well, like they say, your ego make you big headed. You think you know it all, and when you think you know it all, nobody can tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to take on that though. I want to say, yeah, man, like I ain't gonna hold you though. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all a true story though. But you know what I'm saying? When I was in the streets like I was, you know what I'm saying, doing my thing, I missed out on a lot of opportunities because of my ego. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't that little 3P right there. Oh, whoop whoop. You know what I'm saying? We'll do this, and you know what I'm saying. We used to handle stuff real rugged. You know what I'm saying? But we built up an ego to the point where we looked at them. They was. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
bottom, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and yeah, and you know, I had a lot of people coming to
Oh,
me trying to
just
present
kicking back,
stuff,
man.
you know what I'm saying, and whoop the whoop, but I was
Been
so in love with
drinking
my
several
lifestyle and the
cups a
ego
day.
that it had built within me, you know what I'm saying, that I had missed out on a lot of opportunities. So yeah. If you let your ego get the best of you, most definitely you will miss out on a lot of opportunities and resourceful information.
You can miss
Yeah,
out on love because of
yeah.
your ego. Oh, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want no garbage man because your ego
Mm-hmm.
told you that you don't want a man that works on a garbage truck, and
Yeah.
that's the man that's gonna love you to the fullest.
Mm-hmm. Go wash your dirty drawers. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, y'all know I'm silly.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But you know what
Dollar
I'm
Bees.
saying? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Dollar
Mm.
Bees,
no.
so let me ask you this question. How can we learn to separate our identity from our beliefs and opinions in order to be more open to the truth?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I
Damn.
guess you would be saying that assuming that your personality isn't already open to the truth. Um, I just go at everything with the idea of being wrong. You know, I listen to everyone and I approach every situation like I'm most likely wrong first. Like, don't prove me wrong, prove me right. That's that type of scenario. And if you're open to being wrong, your ego has to get out the way. Like you can't do both. You can't be open to being wrong and have your ego leading the way. It's just not going to work.
Right.
So I think that's just the best approach, I guess. My ego very rarely gets in the way because I think my ego held me back for so long, and I realized that it wasn't beneficial. Like I think what we all been saying is like your ego is basically like a meter, and if you can balance right in the middle, there's greatness. But a little too much is failure, and not enough is missed opportunity. So you I just feel like I'm really good at balancing mine now, like when I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't for so long.
And
He said,
that comes with growth.
yeah.
You had to go
Absolutely.
through some stuff in order to understand how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Same question
Some
for
of
you,
us, our
Maddie.
ego wants to stop us from growing because in growth, that means you have to stretch. When you stretch, that means there's pain. We don't want to go through pain. But like I was telling someone last night in the beehive, pain means you're alive. And because you're
Mm-hmm.
alive, that gives you another day to do what you should have done yesterday again. So
Mm.
go through
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
pain and get through it.
Trust me.
Yeah, hey, you true though. But look, for real though, like I used to like fight a lot because it made me feel alive. Like
Hmm.
me physically, going hand to hand with somebody, like physically contact made me feel alive. And they were like, "You crazy." But now I'm not crazy. There's just something inside the spirit that was like, made you feel alive. Like some people like money. Money make them feel alive. Some people like,
Mm-hmm.
sex make them feel, everybody had that certain thing that make them feel alive. You feel me? Like, and it's not crazy for what that person, however that is to make them feel alive.
But pain makes you know that you're alive.
It does.
Some
It
some
does.
people don't know that they living. They just existing.
Trust.
But because you're
Trust.
going through something shows that you're here. You're
Mm-hmm.
functioning. You're able to do this. You can do it to another day.
Mm-hmm. You're
Drake
right.
said it best. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, I just got a few more questions, but man, I want to ask you that same question that I just asked Dollar Beezy. How can we separate our identity from our belief and opinions in order to be more open to the truth?
Mm-hmm.
I could take Alexander Dumas' The Count of Monte Cristo and place it in front of each one of you right now and say, turn to chapter 7. Let's read paragraph 3. And each one of us is going to read that paragraph and talk about Edmond Dantes and whatnot from The Count of Monte Cristo. And then when we're done reading that paragraph, we're going to close the book, put it to the side. What'd you get from that paragraph? She going to give an answer, him, her, him, me, you, and we all going to have a different idea of what that paragraph meant to us, because existence is the power of interpretation. You know what I mean? Existence is the power of interpretation. You could have the best interests in mind. You could stand on a stage and speak to 20 people, and you could be speaking on this one wavelength, and 18 people will nod their heads at you, but then two people are like, nah, he an asshole. Even though you're not
Mm-hmm.
saying anything bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was we talking about earlier? We were talking about the Lord earlier, right? When we were talking about the gospel. Let's think about the what's it, Luke 17:12 through 19, when the 10 lepers, you know what I mean? And it was like, man, have mercy on us, blah blah blah. And so the Lord blessed them and went and said, go to these cats and talk to them, but only one of them lepers came back to him. You know what I mean? Only one of them put all that stuff to the side and said, "Let me show thanks for it."
Okay, we still recording, everybody. We still recording.
Oh, what happened, everybody?
Okay,
All right, we still recording.
I get it. I get it. I'm not one of the original Israelites. I'm not allowed to speak. I'm not allowed to speak on the Lord. I get it, y'all.
I'm glad it didn't just happen to me.
Yeah, I thought it was just me.
I thought it
I
was just me too.
yeah, I get it, man. I'm not one of the original
You're
tribes.
giving out too much gold,
Trust-
Maddie. You're
trust-
giving out too much gold. We're gonna close the bank.
But yeah, the problem is, people are interpreted differently. People are absolutely interpreted differently, and um, what was funny? Actually, BZ, if you don't mind, I would like to have you as an example. I came into a world one time where it was CJ Shotlow, you, and Dirk Dig, and you all was
Mhm.
talking. We were having a conversation, and these guys were dropping absolute gems. It was a meeting of the minds. You know what I mean? And I just happened to crash the party because trust, Matty Cakes. That's what I do. So I came in and I was listening to them talk business, and I said, Matty Cakes local legend. Remember, y'all cracked up laughing, and I said, I can't, you guys is laughing, but local legend Matty Cakes, that is the brand. I have to separate myself from where other people's lanes are and where my lane is, and sometimes my lane may be 4 lanes wide. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Sometimes in life, sometimes you may have to merge into another lane in order to get forward. Sometimes you might have to put yourself in park in order to take a step back and say, well, let me refuel real quick. You know what I mean? And just
Mm-hmm.
say, You don't have to constantly be on go. Sometimes stop and pause. You can catch the little details. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
separating that stuff is very important, and it is
Okay.
tough
True.
All right, I got two more questions. And Shay, this one is for you. Do
for
you think
you.
do you think admitting you were wrong can be a sign of a strength or a weakness? And why?
Admitting you're wrong is definitely a sign of main strength. I mean, there's no question about it because showing accountability is is major in being truthful to oneself and living in one's truth. And so, like I said, you always have to be always admit you're wrong, whether you telling that person or whether you knowing it in your heart or whether like I said earlier, sometimes someone doesn't admit it but they still know that they were wrong, and that it will affect them, and it will have that sense, and then the next interaction they won't, it affects the person to where they learn from it and they become better because they don't want to have that feeling, because guilt is a strong physical feeling. And so, um, um I'm getting my thoughts. Repeat the question again. I'm
For
learning.
real.
Well, you basically answered it when the question was, do you think admitting you were wrong is a sign of strength or weakness, and why?
Major strength.
Okay. And B, let me ask you this: what role do you think empathy plays in being able? What role do you think empathy plays in being able to accept the truth, even if it conflicts with your own ego?
Hmm.
Hmm. What part does empathy play, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ouch.
Well, empathy allows you to put yourself in the shoes of another person. When you have empathy and sympathy for another person, and if you can see where they're coming from, you can understand who they are and why they are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
So empathy should play a big role in any situation.
But does that mean that, are you saying that it doesn't, if you have empathy, it shouldn't conflict with your ego? Does empathy and
No, it
ego
should, there
reside in the
wouldn't even
same
be an
space?
ego. It won't even be an ego because you have empathy, and that's
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Ego will never let you see
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's side.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Having an ego will never let you allow you to see somebody else's side or their pain or where they're coming from. None of that. Because it'll say, you know what, that's on them. I'm going to still do me. That's on them. But when you have empathy for another person, you can feel their pain. You put
Mm-hmm.
yourself in their shoes. You in that environment with them, and you can understand why they feel the way that they feel. So ego is nowhere in the building.
Mm, okay. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Shout out. Let go.
All right.
It's a good
So,
question.
anybody want to add on to that before we close on out?
Yeah, I will. We got. Answer it one more time, and I'll add on to it because it did make me kind of. You ever get hit with something, your head reels back, like you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
dodge something.
Right.
What role do you think empathy plays in being able to accept the truth, even if it conflicts with your own ego?
At B's podcast recently, right? There was a guy who was speaking about reverence, right? There was a guy speaking about reverence, and this is when I caught my 7 day ban and empathy, right? So he was talking about how his wife was submissive, and I said to him like, you the leader of the house, who the strength of the house, and he said, well, I am. I said, how could that be? Because your wife is the submissive one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a dominant since the age of 16. Dominance is empathy because you are in service of the submissive. A lot of people get that John wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're within their. You have to mentally stimulate them, emotionally encourage them, and last but not least, you have to physically provide for them too. But unfortunately, today's society has diluted those roles down to just porn, and that's that's the least amount of it. So when it comes to empathy, what that comes from empathy. That's the derivative word for that is empathia from Greek, to be in feeling, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to step outside of your ego.
Mm-hmm.
Let's choose these words carefully. You have to be able to step outside your ego to step in someone else's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm.
Talk to him, Maddie.
Okay. Okay.
And actually that comes from and Shay, you may appreciate this. That actually comes from a theory of art appreciation, where it is the artist who projects how they are feeling into a piece of work so it may be interpreted by the viewer in a certain light. So, yeah. If my memory serves me correctly on etymology in that word.
It sound right to me, hell.
If it ain't, we
Mhm.
going with it anyway.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So now we got to the
Yeah.
point where we're gonna go and close it on out with our final words. Speed, what words do you have for the people in reference to them no longer just loving the lies and being able to love the truth?
Hmm. Don't don't allow a lie that you told yourself, because that's where that ego comes in at. It's the lie you told yourself to keep you from growing in yourself. That's it. Don't allow a lie to stop you from growing.
Okay, thank you, Rillo.
I'll just say, just tell the truth, bro. You know what I'm saying, man? You know, lie when necessary. You know what I'm saying? At bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? We human. Just tell the truth. Yeah.
All right, Shay.
Um, my words would be it's easier to believe a lie than to seek for the truth, because it requires mental stimulation. It requires you to have to work for it. I feel like you should always look for growth, always look for more, and that's just the interpreted the word.
Okay, Dalabeezy.
I would just say let your ego grow when you have fear, and starve it when it gets in the way, or stops you from being able to be wrong.
And Manny.
I don't drop my doggone control. Are you serious? Um, you know what's funny? BZ keeps bringing up these artists tonight, saying this person said it best. How about in Victory when Diddy say, "Cause I tell it how it is, and you tell it how
So
it
how it
should
should
be."
be.
Right. Let's let's talk about that, especially since I'm from Philly and that beat starts out with that rocky bong. You know what I mean? Um, Here's the thing. I want to leave anyone with. They say practice makes perfect. That's the most false statement I've ever heard in my life. Because what happens if the person who's teaching you is teaching you incorrectly? Now you just perfectly
Incorrectly.
practice the wrong thing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So make sure that you. Damn, I said that so strong that shit got blown backwards. You see that? So. But no, focus on what's inside your heart. I tell every kid that I coach, that I mentor, that I talk to, I tell every kid that you need to strike when the iron is hot, yo. You absolutely need to strike when the iron is hot. That way you could smooth it out so it becomes the hardest steel that you could use to cut through life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And all I have to say is don't let your conclusions comes from delusions. And with
Mm-hmm.
Trust
that being
me.
said, you all have a blessed evening. Thank you for
Amen.
listening to
Yay!
Infinite Rocket Power.
Amen.
Oh,
Yes.
you know what? I did want to add something earlier. No, we're not filming anymore. Oh, she left. So remember when we were talking about